Hello, this is your special education virtual content specialist with the lesson for April 16th for 8th grade. As a reminder, this lesson and all other lessons can be found on TeachHub, and each lesson provides the unit, the day, the title of the lesson, the focus question, the learning objective, the standards, and objectives. It also provides guidance for using the resource, including instructional and technology guidance, implementation guidance for this lesson, guidance for summarizing, guidance for assessment during instruction, and general methods for engaging with students with disabilities and multilingual learners. 8th graders are working on Unit 7, Exponents and Scientific Notation, Day 26, Definition of Scientific Notation, Part B. What is scientific notation, and what are the features of an expression written in scientific notation? For the introduction, students should state whether each of the following is in scientific notation, and if it's not, they need to write it in scientific notation. So students should notice that number 1 is written in scientific notation. And please note that you may need to renumber your slides. Number 2 is not written in scientific notation, and that's going to look like 4 8/10 times 10 to the 4th power. Number 3 is not written in scientific notation, and that should be 9 9/10 times 10 to the negative 4th power. Number 4 is not written in scientific notation, and that should be 3 6/10 times 10 to the 6th power. Number 5 is written in scientific notation, and number 6 needs to be rewritten as 7 8/10 times 10 to the negative 4th power. For the Explorer, there are 2 parts for this slide. The first part is matching. So you want students to match the numbers on the left-hand side to the scientific notation appearing numbers on the right-hand side. So here we are going to connect each of these numbers. And then students are to circle all the cards on the right-hand side that represent numbers written in scientific notation. So students should notice that only the latter 2 are written in scientific notation, and you're going to say that the numbers that we didn't circle are going to be important for our next step. In the original portion of this Explorer, it was a blank chart, but in order to support students with special needs and to decrease the time that they need to process the information from the previous slide, you can simply create this table for them where one column is the original expression from the slide before, and the second column is where they need to rewrite the expression in correct scientific notation. So we will have 4 3/10 times 10 to the negative 2nd power. And here we will have 5 times 10 to the 6th power. Because this is the second day of the lesson, students should be prepared to summarize what is scientific notation and what are the features of an expression written in scientific notation. You may want to consider displaying students' responses to see, and you may want to push their discussion further by asking the following questions. What are some examples of expressions that are in scientific notation? How can you tell they are in scientific notation? What are some examples of expressions that are not in scientific notation? Try to come up with examples that would test whether someone knows what scientific notation is. How would you write a very small number like 0.000021 in scientific notation? And that would be 2 and 1/10 times 10 to the negative fifth power. How would you write a very large number like 21 million in scientific notation? And that would be 2 and 1/10 times 10 to the seventh power. Why might scientific notation be useful? Can you think of information in the real world that might be easier to work with in scientific notation? These are just some ideas on how to strengthen the concept of scientific notation via discussion for students with disabilities. And then after discussion, you can have students complete the cool down. For students that need additional practice, they can work on IXL, grade 8, skill G.1, the Open Up Resources practice problems, or the Engage New York grade 8, module 1, lesson 9 problem set. As with every lesson, here are the resources that we utilized. That way you can look at them more closely and see how you can support your own students. If you have any questions, reach out to your virtual content specialist. Thank you.